Hi everyone, I'm Mariama Tyler and welcome to Faces of Fulton, a program that introduces you to people making a difference in our community. In this edition, we profile Helene S. Mills, senior advocate and namesake of the county's newest senior multi-purpose facility. She sat down recently with our Shania Chavis for this conversation.
Who is Helene S. Mills?
I am the force that speak for the voices of those who will not speak for themselves.
At 70-something, she is full of wisdom and full of grace. Born Helene Strickland, this Georgia native and senior advocate is not only the voice for thousands, she's also the face you see when you enter this senior multi-purpose facility in District 6, Central Atlanta. Miss Mills spent her early days in Metro Atlanta as a teacher. Then she says she was an advocate for children. But the majority of her adult life she spent working for the Internal Revenue Service, and now she works for the public. Miss Mills married and bore one son, but now says she is a mother to hundreds, helping seniors who may not have the courage to help themselves.
I think that this is a mission that was given to me from my early childhood. And now I'm able, that I'm a senior, I'm able to realize it. And when people ask me that, I tell them I do that because I have no fear of any man. I put my trust in the Almighty. I try to be right, and I'm going to speak the truth. And then if they have a problem with that, it's theirs, not mine.
Tell me about your childhood.
They've always said that I was very outspoken as a child. Many times gotten whippings for that, for speaking up for what I believed in, even as a child. And they've always told me that my mouth would get me in trouble, but I found out that your mouth is the only way that you get anything that you need, because if you don't make your request known, nobody knows what you want.
Miss Mills, you spent the majority of your life in this neighborhood, growing up in this neighborhood. Tell me about it. Tell me about how it used to be and how it is now.
When I was young, in this neighborhood, everybody watched after everybody's child. Even when my child was growing up, I could leave my child. I could walk off and just say, a neighbor, I'm going downtown for a few minutes. And that's all I had to say. Because if they knew that I was gone, they knew that they would take over the motherhood of my child. And I could leave him outdoors playing. And I had no fear, because I knew if something needed to be taken care of, whether it was discipline or whether it was he was hungry, whether he got hurt, whatever it was, they would take care of it for me. That kind of thing changed, and I saw this neighborhood go down. It was in a very affluent neighborhood. Even when I was in college, this neighborhood was the neighborhood where all the doctors, the lawyers, the professional people lived. I was not an affluent person, but I never knew that I was poor when I grew up, because everybody was on the same wavelength. I had a teacher once, and I think that teacher, not knowing what she did to help mold my life. And there was another neighbor who was a beautician that also helped mold my life. Sometimes it's not the positive that molds a person's life. Sometimes it's the negative that molds a person's life. I grew up as a little nappy-head, short-haired, uninfluential person. And this lady was a lady who was very influential in the neighborhood. She went to church. She was a big wheel in the church. And she used to say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I told her I wanted to be a teacher. She said, "No, my parents were not learned, educated people." And she said, "Well, you can't do that because your parents aren't anything and you're not going to be anything." That stayed with me because I've always been a daring person. And I said, I'll show her.
Why are you so passionate about your work with seniors and for seniors?
I did not come from an educated family. And I noticed growing up, there were times that I felt that my parents should have spoken up. And as we get older, we are far more less likely to speak up. We will accept because we don't want to rock the boat. And that is the way my parents said, well, just let it go. Don't make a big issue of it. But if you don't make a big issue of it, you can never right a wrong. And I promised that as I got older, and here again, they talked about my mouth, but I told them if I ever get old enough and if I ever get grown, I'm going to say what I want to say. And I did it as a child. I had to take the consequences because I know behind everything that happened, there's consequences. And as a child, I could not always say that I'll take the consequences. But as an adult and as I got older, and especially when I got to be a senior, I said, well, whatever consequences come, I'm willing to take it. Because I want to see right. And I want to see right for everybody and not for a select few. Because most of the time, people who need whatever it is that I'm challenging the most are the people who will not speak up for themselves. And I felt that I could be that voice for the silent ones. Babies are smarter than senior adults. A baby will cry. If he wants a bottle, he will cry. If you give him a sucker, if you give him a toy, he'll throw it down until you put that bottle in his mouth. And seniors have to be the same way, and I am the same way.
When we come back, hear what Miss Mills thinks about having a senior facility named in her honor. Her thoughts just might surprise you. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm Mariama Tyler. We're profiling Helene S. Mills on this edition of Faces of Fulton. Here's more of her conversation with our Shania Chavis.
You fought long and hard for a number of things as it relates to seniors. Now there is this phenomenal senior center, and it has your name on it. What does that mean to you?
It means that we have gotten one plateau ahead of where we were 25 years ago. But the fight is still not finished. The fact that this building has my name on it, I know I should be very elated. I'm honored. I'm not as elated as people feel that I should be about the name, but I am overwhelmed about the building because the building represents what I had hoped it would represent a service for senior adults. The name is not important. It could have been a no-name building as long as it served the people, as long as it represented what I had hoped that it would represent. Seniors who can come here who could not otherwise stay at home alone. Seniors who are at home every day by themselves and depressed with nothing to do. And we have so many success stories in this building, especially with our adult daycare. We have a lady who had a stroke in 1998, and she had been wheelchair bound with her husband waiting on her hand and feet, deteriorating, not walking, not doing anything. She came to the facility, and for about 3 weeks she just sat. She would not participate in anything. We have a keyboard. We found out that she could play the piano, and the coordinator of the adult daycare started pushing the keyboard close to her. She started gradually playing the keyboard. After she started playing the keyboard, we have an aquatic pool. She started going in the water, and about 2 months and a half ago, she was able to walk, not have to be carried out of the pool, but she was able to walk out of the pool. She has progressed so much. And when I see this type of thing, that's what makes me overjoyed. Just to know that now something is being done to extend the lives and the independence of seniors. All of us want to stay independent as long as we can. I know that our politicians don't even realize what this kind of service can do. It will keep the state from having to pay for nursing homes if we had this kind of service throughout, not only the county, but throughout the city, throughout the state, where it would be available and affordable for everybody who needed it. People wouldn't die as soon. People would be able to be self-sufficient, and they would be independent. And that's something all seniors want to be. None of us want to be dependent on anybody.
We have seen you go before the board on a number of occasions, on a number of different topics. What is that like for you to go in front of elected officials?
I enjoy it. Because if I said I didn't, I would be lying. But I don't go before them without preparation. If you are prepared, you don't have a fear. When I go before them, I have done my homework. I have researched. I know what I'm talking about. They sit up there, and a lot of times they really don't have all of the facts. But I research the facts before I go.
What's been the most memorable appearance before the Board of Commissioners that you can recall?
Maybe getting the multi-purpose facilities started. When we started this fight in 1973, because we had nothing for seniors to do, and we were looking at that, and we went before the Board of Commissioners to ask them to build some multi-purpose facilities for seniors. They said that it would be a waste of money and that nobody would come. And we have also surprised the Board of Commissioners, because every multi-purpose facility that has been built was outgrown at the time of entrance.
Still to come on Faces of Fulton, Hear what's next on Miss Mills' agenda. It just may involve you. Welcome back. In our last segment of Faces of Fulton, Ms. Mills talked about what still needs to be done for our seniors, including the important and challenging aspects of transportation and medicine. Here's more now of her conversation with our Shania Chavis.
You have a lot of things you still want to do. Where do you go from here at this young age?
I will expire at the age of 120 because I have a lot of work to do. And that is to see that senior adults have transportation not only to the facility, but medical transportation. That's a problem among senior adults. Another problem among senior adults, especially in the inner city, in the city limits, is housing. To put a senior adult on the 36th floor of a building who cannot live in a single family house, and you put them on the 36th floor of a senior high-rise and say this is where they need to go. I'm hoping, and I'm aspiring, and I plan to work with whoever will work with me to see that senior villages, independent homes are built for senior adults. We don't mind paying. Just put it. They build everything else that they want to build. They said that they can't find land. Land is around. They're building all of these multi-buildings over here in this area, all these tri-high buildings. Take some of that land and build us a place where seniors can live on one level, where they won't have to climb stairs. I'm having to make some transition now because of that. Transportation is a terrible problem. Seniors have to stop driving, and they don't have any way to get where they need to get because of lack of transportation. That's a great issue. Drugs, medicine is getting higher and higher. Seniors are having to choose between food, medicine, transportation, and gas bill. And all of those issues are issues that we need to confront. And that's my next goal, is to see that all of us have a fair share and that all of us have access to whatever it is that we need to keep us independent and self-sufficing.
My final question for you, Miss Mills. When you get on to glory, and those of us are left here, and we talk about Helene S. Mills, what are you hoping folks will say?
Miss Mills, you started it, and here I am keeping it on going. Just be sure that you don't let it drop by the wayside, because they won't drop you by the wayside. They will be there with their Kool-Aid and hot dogs to give you when they want your vote, and let your vote carry a price.
Ms. Mills visits this facility that bears her name several times a week, though not every day as she once did. She says there's a lot more to be done before her 120th birthday. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Faces of Fulton. I'm Mariama Tyler. I'll see you next time.